What's going on, guys? Jason Moss here. Today's video, I got a humdinger for you. This is a question I get all the time from current clients and from people that are looking to hire me. So I figured I'd make a video on this because I get this question all the time. And this video is going to be for all my real estate investors out there. This is how to pick your business name, your brand name, or even like your website domain name. Okay, how do you go about that? How do you figure out what is going to work the best, what you should do, what you shouldn't do? I'm going to break it all down here to you, and I'm going to go over some examples as well. Okay, so the cool thing is I've never done this kind of training before, so I might miss a few things here and there. If I do, leave a comment below. I'm happy to help. But I got a lot of notes here. I'm going to go over this because I do this with investors all the freaking time. Okay, so here's how it goes. Here's how I see it and what I've seen over the years working with dozens and dozens of investors and ranking their websites and what takes a long time, what doesn't take a long time. There's a lot of knowledge up here, and I'm going to spew it at you here. Okay, so first off, with your brand name, business name, domain name, first off, your domain name should be the same as your brand name, okay, or it should be very, very close. So if your business name is Jason Buys Houses, your domain name, you should really try to get Jason Buys Houses. Try not to do something else, okay? If your brand name is Jason Buys Houses and you want to put your whole website on Jason Buys Properties, or something a little bit even different, like Jason's Properties or something, okay, or Jason Moss Properties, Jason Moss Investments, something like that, and your name is Jason Buys Houses, don't do it. It's confusing. You're going to kill yourself trying to get Google to figure it out. Just make your domain name the same as your business name, okay? So we got that out of the way. So how do you pick what your name is, okay? Now, I break it down like this, okay? You have niche keywords that you can use in your business name. You have geographical keywords that you can use in your business name, and then you have something very broad, okay? Broad would be like your name, an animal, an object, something like that. Okay, these niche keywords, as you can see, would be those keywords that sellers are searching. So buy, houses, sell, homes, buyers, real estate, property, cash. Okay, so a lot of examples there. Geographically, you have like your state, your city, your county, or some other kind of area identifier like Tri-City or the Tri-State area, something like that, okay? So how do you pick which one you want to do, okay? Well, the one thing that I always tell people and I ask investors is, do you know your goals, your 5-year goals, your 10-year goals, okay? Because that's going to matter what you do today versus what you're doing down the line, all right? Because I always try to get investors to realize that they might be only in one city or one market at the moment, okay? But do they have plans on buying in a different market later on, okay? Because what I see people do all the time is they tie themselves down geographically, okay? They get themselves stuck with their business name. So what would be an example of that? An example would be, if my business name was Jason Buys St. Louis Houses, okay? So if my name is Jason Buys St. Louis Houses.com, okay? What have I done there? Okay, well, I've tied myself down geographically to St. Louis, all right? So if my plans are only to operate in St. Louis and only buy in St. Louis, and I'm okay with that in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, I only want to buy in St. Louis, and that's it. I never want to go anywhere else. Perfect. Okay, that's a great domain name. Okay, that will work 100% of the time. Okay, but you have to realize that you're tying yourself down geographically. All right, you got to wonder, well, if my name is Jason buys St. Louis houses, and then one day comes along and all of a sudden I want to buy houses in Chicago. Okay, and so you put on a city page, you know, Chicago, can't even spell, Chicago, Illinois, right? Well, that's not going to make sense. It's not going to make sense to Google, and it's not going to make sense to the sellers that are up in Chicago. Even if you get this page to rank, okay, up in Chicago for like We Buy Houses Chicago or something like that, even if you get this to rank, all right, these people, those sellers, when they go to your website and they see your logo and it's like Jason buys St. Louis houses, all right, and they're like, well, I'm in Chicago. I'm on the wrong website, right? This doesn't make sense. It's going to kill your conversion, and Google's just going to have a heck of a hard time figuring it out because your domain name is, you know, the most powerful thing because that is the hierarchy, right? It's the top of the hierarchy. It's the top of the entities is your domain name. Everything's below it, right? When you're building things out. So if St. Louis is in your domain name and then you're trying to rank a page for Chicago, Illinois, it's not going to make sense. So with this kind of domain name, if you're okay with being in St. Louis, all right, that's perfect. It's fine. Okay. Now the other thing people do is they'll tie themselves down with like a city. So you know, maybe this isn't St. Louis, maybe it's Missouri. Okay, so it's Jason buys Missouri houses. Same thing applies, right? It does give yourself a little bit of a broader reach, all right? Instead of tying yourself down to just St. Louis, now you've tied yourself down to Missouri. But it does give you the opportunity to all of a sudden, you know, you got your St. Louis page, right? But then later on, you're like, man, I want to go buy houses in Columbia, Missouri. All right, or all of a sudden you want to go buy in Kansas City. Okay, those things are going to work out perfectly fine because the hierarchy once again is Missouri, and these are cities within Missouri, so it makes perfect sense. Okay, so that's just one thing you have to take note of. Okay, and remember, think down the line. Are you going to tie yourself down geographically? That is, you know, the biggest thing that I have with clients. Okay, now there's a few different ways that you can do your business name or your domain name. Okay, and I have them out here for you. I even got some pros and cons. Okay, so we have exact match, all right, we have partial match, and we have the broad. Okay, now the exact match is something like if you made your business We Buy Houses St. Louis. So WeBuyHousesSt.Louis.com or DallasHomebuyers.com. Okay, so remember, this is geo plus niche. Okay, this is using a geo plus a niche keyword. All right, so we got buy houses, and then we also have St. Louis. We have a city here, Dallas, but then we have the niche. Okay, so sell my house fast, Tampa. Same thing applies. Now, the pros of these are they rank very fast because Google loves exact match brands and exact match domains. They give them a lot of power, okay, a lot of trust. The thing is, sometimes they sound kind of funny, okay? Like We Buy Houses St. Louis. I mean, We Buy Houses company, WeBuyHouses.com, they kind of made a name for themselves with that. But like this here, like if your name is Sell My House Fast Tampa, you know, it doesn't really sound like a brand name, right? It kind of sounds like you're trying too hard type of thing, right? So a lot of times they do kind of sound funny. A lot of times they are not available because a lot of people scoop those up for whatever reasons. And also they do tie you down geographically. So that could be a good thing. It could also be a bad thing, okay? So that's one thing to consider. But they do rank very, very fast. If you're going to go this route with an exact match, I probably wouldn't use We Buy Houses City or Sell My House Fast City. I would go more along the lines of something like this because it actually sounds good. So like Dallas Home Buyers or you know, Oklahoma City home buyers or Tampa home buyers, whatever. Okay, something like that is still an exact match, and it actually sounds good. Now the next one is like a partial match. Okay, so this is where it's geo or niche. It's not both. Okay, so this would be an example like Helping Hand home buyers. So Helping Hand, that's not a city, right? But you do have the niche keywords. You got home buyers in it. Okay, this one here, Fresh Door Properties. So you have niche keywords and properties, but even door could be considered maybe a keyword because it, a door's on a house, but fresh, not so much, right? So it's more like it's just niche. There's no geo here with this, okay? Or another example that a lot of people do is Jason Buys Houses, or your name buys houses, right? So your name is not city, obviously, but buys houses is a good niche keyword, okay? So these can rank very, very well as well. They are the most popular route that I see. They don't tie you down geographically, which I feel is a bonus, okay? Because if you do want to go in other markets, later on down the road, that can be very beneficial, okay? Because if your name is Jason Buys Houses, like we talked about earlier, you can just attach anything to the end. You can build a city page in Kansas City, in Tampa, in Anchorage, in Colorado, whatever, because this doesn't tie you down to a certain geographical location, okay? These also make sense to the sellers. They do rank a little bit slower because there's no geo attached to it. There's no location attached to it, but they do make the most sense, and it is what I see being the most popular route to go. Now, the other one is broad, okay? Believe it or not, there are people that choose these for their company name, and I highly do not recommend them, okay? Believe it or not, I just had a company where their business name was Canoe, okay? Canoe, that's it. I went to their Google My Business, popped up, it said Canoe. Like, what does that do? That doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't tell the seller if they happen to stumble on it, okay, because it would be extremely hard to rank that, all right? They're not going to see it, okay? Even if they do, they're going to be very confused, like, what is Canoe, okay? And if they go and search your brand, like if you're sending out direct mail, you're doing PPC, Facebook ads, whatever, everything that comes up, your Facebook business page, it'll say Canoe. Or your GMB says Canoe. Or a direct mail says Canoe. And they go to Google and search Canoe, what's going to happen? You're going to have Amazon Canoes pop up, Wikipedia Canoe, tell you what a canoe is. Like, it's not going to work, okay? Don't do it. Now, same thing applies with your name. Don't just use your name. Put something on the end of it, okay? Make it a partial match. So if you've messed up and this is your business name, okay, just fix it. Put properties on it or something. Do that. Oh, and take the LLC off of there. You don't need that, okay, for your business name. Now, legally speaking, leave the LLC, okay? But I'm talking like customer facing, your Google My Business, your Facebook account, stuff like that. You don't need LLC showing. So make it a partial match, okay? Jason Moss buys houses, okay? Jason Moss home buyers, something along those lines, okay? You can easily modify it and make it something, but don't just do Canoe or something like that, okay? All right, and like I said right here, very hard to rank, confusing to sellers. We'll have to do massive SEO and wait forever to rank, and maybe you will never rank, okay? You probably will not, all right? So don't do that. So let's go look at some examples here because everybody likes to see examples, right? So I have a bunch of examples over here on the left-hand side, and let's try to make this bigger real quick. All right, and just looking through the list here, here are some good examples, okay? So here is one example right here of abroad, which is not good. Now, their domain name is Marisam Home Sellers, so that part is good, but the company name is Marisam. I haven't gone and looked at their Google My Business to see what they're doing, but if they are just doing it as Marisam, big bad idea. Okay, let's come up here and look at some other examples. So here's one: Bald Brothers Buy Homes. Okay, now let me tell you something about this. You got buy and you got homes in it. So this is definitely like a partial match, okay? Because Bald Brothers isn't a niche type thing or a geo type thing, but this gives you like a look into the identity of the company, who you might be working with. This kind of name right here actually works very, very well. You know, I'm sure, guess these are two bald brothers and they buy homes, so why wouldn't you want to work with them, right? Coming up here, you got abused property offers. So this is a play on, you know, a niche keyword here. You know, offers of what you're actually doing. Abused, you know, like you're going after neglected properties, that type of thing. So, you know, these work out very well, very good as well. Bill Buys Homes. There's one of those partial match where you have your name, but you have buys homes. So something like that is good. And then here's a, you know, this is more like an exact match here. You got Dallas Fort Worth property guy. All right. So it tells people that, you know, he's in Dallas Fort Worth and he's a property guy. So it doesn't say like he buys houses or anything like that, but sellers usually get the point, right? And it ties himself down to Dallas Fort Worth. So once again, that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. Dallas Fort Worth is a huge area. So, you know, he's probably okay with it. Okay. Here's some more that are exact match. El Paso property buyers. El Paso buys homes. This is more of a partial match. Unlimited. Okay. Unlimited is not niche or geo, but you do have home buying solutions. Okay. So that's a partial match. That's a good domain. Here's another broad one. McCarroll. I don't know. They're using any condition house. But, you know, I wouldn't use this business name, of course. Okay. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of good examples out there. A lot of different ways that you can go about this. But once again, to kind of summarize everything, you have those exact match. They rank very fast. You know, if you're going to do it, I would go after something like city home buyers. Okay. But you have to be okay with only being in that city or county or state, whatever you might do. Okay. Partial match is usually the most popular. That's always what I kind of recommend. You know, make it unique, brand it. You know, it's going to look good. It's going to last forever. And you have the opportunity of always going into another market if you want to. But hopefully this is helpful. I know this is kind of a long video, but there's a lot to go over. There's a lot of things to consider. This is your business and your domain name after all. It's kind of set in stone, so to speak. So you always want to make sure it is correct. But if you got more questions, leave them below. I am happy to help. I help investors with this stuff all the time. And if you are making your brand name and it's time to like set up your Carrot website as well, also see the links in the description below. I have my links for the Carrot website. If you go ahead and purchase through those links, send me the receipt once you're done and I'll get you access to our bonuses. All right. But yeah, if you got questions, leave them below. Happy to help, but I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.